Hey guys, good evening. Thanks for joining me again for the third video of this series. Today it's going to be the second part of the formula. We're going to go through the M, which is, as the title of this video says, for motivation. For those of you who don't know, I'm Oliver and I'm here to sort of talk this through with you guys. I know this one's a little bit later than it has been previously, so if you are watching live, for those of you who are here, thank you so much just for being here and sharing it with me. We're going to go through as much as we can and sort of go forward. So what we're going to do today, this video isn't going to be your traditional motivational talk. That sort of stuff is fantastic and it will definitely get your energy up, it will get your excitement up, but that isn't what I'm here to do today. I want to make you more aware of your motivation. I want to make you more aware of what goes on when you have a dip in it and of how you can sort of maintain it and control it yourself. Cool? Good. So ultimately, what we're talking about when we talk about motivation is your attitude towards the goal. Now, yesterday, when we spoke about setting the goal and setting the target, we talked about making sure it was something that was impactful for you. I told you about how to sit down and take 5 minutes to visualize it, to really sort of feel what it's going to be like to have already achieved it. Now, that's going to be your primary motivator. That's what needs to excite you. If it doesn't, revisit this one. If it excites you, perfect. That 5 minutes a day is going to be the first thing that you do that sort of reminds you to go, that's why I'm doing it. Now, a lot of what we do talk about today is going to get, it's going to get easier once we get towards the commitment part of it, because the commitment is your why. And once you know your definite, actual, physical why, your motivation is going to fit in really nicely. What we're going to do and what you're going to find is that commitment and motivation are two halves of the same whole. They go together so well that separating them can be really difficult. What I'm going to do is just give you a brief overview of how to really see the difference. Motivation is what gets you started. It's what gets you underway. It's what gets you rolling. It's what gets everything kicked off. Commitment is what keeps it going. Yes, it's a really sort of cliche sentence, but that's the truth. Motivation gets you started. Commitment keeps you going towards the end. The way I like to think of it is that if you're going to go on a journey, a change, a transformation, a personal journey like what you're going to go on, then commitment is the vehicle that you're taking that journey in, and motivation is the fuel that you're going to put in it. So if you don't have the commitment, you're just putting that petrol over the floor, completely wasted. If you've got loads of commitment but you haven't got any fuel, you're not going to go anywhere, right? You're not going to move, it's not going to happen. So that's a good way to look at it. So I'm going to kick it all off just by sort of letting you know the best way to get started, and that is really simple. Have a plan. Plan it out. Now, a good way people get into it and how it was explained to me is to sit down the night before and plan out the next day. Now, this is brilliant for people who are really good at forming new habits. I was terrible at forming new habits. Honestly, it was just something that I couldn't get into sitting down every day. So when I first started learning this, I now do it every week. Every Sunday I sit down, it usually takes about half an hour, 45 minutes, and I plan the week out. For me, one session a week is a lot easier than 7. So that's what we go for. So now my subconscious mind, a week in advance, knows everything that's happening to it. I can't surprise it. I'm making sure I'm doing it. Along with the plan, what's important is that you are recording what you achieve. So if you said, right, Monday, 2 o'clock, I'm going for a gym session, perfect, we're going to go. Make sure when you get back, you sit down, take a minute to think about how it feels now you've finished it, how it feels to be a step closer to this, and then write it down. Write down how it feels. When you next time, if you get a little bit stuck, you can come back and have a look and you can remember the feeling that was going with it. You're going to feel good. When you see that, why would you not want to feel good again? You will, and you'll go and you'll help yourself do it. So having that record of what it was like will help you move on. And exactly the same way, reward yourself. Find out what you really like and reward yourself. So for example, as a reward for finishing this video, at the end of it, I'm going to sit down and play PlayStation with my friends. It's going to happen. It's what I enjoy. It's a nice little reward and it chills me out on a Thursday evening. Do something similar for yourself, guys. Have that goal, have that reward for having done it. Cool? Good. So secondly, and this sort of ties in quite nicely, you need to be aware of what your thoughts and your feelings are around all the things that you're trying to do. So the biggest one people tend to do is they'll miss something in their goal. They'll miss something from their plan. just because it's not a habit yet, it's not something that's easy to do yet. Beat themselves up about it, carry it around with them for the rest of the week, month, forever, and basically never get over it. And every time they try and get motivated, they'll bring that up again about the time they didn't do it, and it will trash everything. Stop it. Stop doing it. Forgive yourself. Let it go. We'll go back to the car analogy. If you're following a sat nav, if you're following a route trying to get somewhere and you miss a turning, do you beat yourself up just driving in the rest in a straight line or turn around and go home? No. You very quickly get over it, take the next left-hand turning and get back on your route. Do the same thing in your plan, guys. Do the same thing with your motivation. If you carry around loads of hatred for all the times you've missed things, you're not going to get anywhere. You're just going to feel bad. Stop doing it. It's a waste of time. Start getting back on track and start getting better at just being aware that you're carrying these feelings around with you. The same thing goes for when you have chosen not to take the turning. Slightly different concept. If you know it's coming up, if you know you've got a segment of your week booked out and instead you sit down and watch telly the whole way through it, or you were supposed to stick to a diet plan but instead just sat down and ate your way through half a jam roly-poly, that's totally different, right? You've made a choice to not do something. Still don't beat yourself up, there's still no point in that, but it's time to have a look at what that choice means. So this is actually quite a personal point for me as well. Towards the end of last year, when I was really trying to get this going, I missed a lot of really key events that I was trying to get to. And a friend of mine said to me, well, if you're missing these things, is the goal an actual priority for you? Or are you just not really serious? Now, the goal of becoming a coach, becoming a speaker, helping people is absolutely a priority to me. It's everything that I want. So that, just hearing that, you've made choices that go against what you want, really woke me up. Since then, there's no more, I don't have time. There's no more, but I'm really tired because I've just finished work. I actually go out, I go to these events, I make the connections, I learn things, I go home and I put them straight into action. I put them straight into the plan. So motivation comes from knowing that you are on the goal to your priority. It comes from awareness of yourself and awareness of what your journey is and what it's going to look like for you. So keep that in mind, guys. There is the classic motivational technique, which is to have reminders, have tokens of what you're trying to achieve. And this will be easier again once we get to the commitment part, because when we get the commitment and we've got your why, you're going to know this. But just to give you an overview, arcing concept of this, put something in your pocket. Put it on your keys. Every time you feel it, it's going to have the feeling and the emotion that you put into the visualizing of your goal. So carry it around with you everywhere. Some people put a stone in their pocket. Some people have pictures of what they really want in their wallets or behind the sunview mirror in their car, so that if you're feeling like you don't really know what's going on, you can look at that, have that emotional response to it, and get yourself kicked off again. Really, really powerful way to pick yourself up. That is something, though, that you don't want to become too dependent on, because you want to ingrain the sort of constant motivational techniques. You want to ingrain them into your being. But to get yourself started, definitely get yourself a token, get yourself something you can carry around, something that you can look at every single day, all the time, just to remind you why the hell you're there. Cool. Finally, you need to make sure that you're feeding your primal need. So motivation to actually do something that you need or that you want are quite different. There's something that coaches, teachers, trainers use, which is called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. In this, he says that the very first thing we need as humans are the basic animal stuff, what's left over from when we were Neanderthals living in caves and trees and stuff. We need food, we need sleep, we need water, we need sex. Right? As people, that's what we look for. If those things are satisfied, we can move on and we can look for security, we can look for personal safety. If once we've satisfied that, we can look into community, friends, family, and we can start being more conscious. Now, this is going to sound sort of obvious, so go with me and just give it a go and keep yourself looking for it. But if you wake up one day and you're going to try and achieve something, and actually you're hungry, or you're worried you're not going to get anything to eat, if you're thirsty, if you hadn't had enough sleep, you're naturally going to be less focused, less able to keep the motivation going. So make sure you're taking care of yourself first. Look after yourself. That being said, do not wait to be the healthiest, most amazing version of yourself before you go after your goals, because you'll be waiting forever. Just make sure that you are giving attention to it. your subconscious mind wants to know that you're thinking about yourself as well. If you're super run down and you spend 24 hours a day trying to work on things, you're quickly going to notice that your body just stops trying to do things. Give it rest, give it water, give it food, plan these things out there, and you're going to get there, guys. So look after yourselves as well, obviously. Yeah. So as far as motivation goes, there's 4 things there that you can do to get this motivation going. So like I said, this isn't me sort of geeing you up and getting you off to run off and do things, because we can do that, but you need to sort of get these things for yourself so that when we're talking about your goals and we're talking about how you've set them and you're doing your visualizing, you're feeling the excitement, you're getting ready to go, everything else is just going to help you keep starting up. So every small bump you have to go over, every small obstacle you go around, once you're past it, you can put your foot back down again and you can keep that speed going. Because any journey and any transformation you go on, trust me, you're going to slow down. Occasionally you might you're going to be able to pick it back up, and some of these techniques are going to help you. If you do struggle with it and it is something that you just really cannot implement, then a coach or a friend or an accountability partner can be really useful. But just get yourself used to it. And remember, it's not something you have to do by tomorrow. This is something that could take you a bit of time and a bit of practice to implement. So forgive yourself when you don't do it, and just start again the next day and keep going until you have got it sorted out. Guys, as I say at the end of every single video, thank you so much for being here. Please get involved with the comments. Please let me know what you thought. If you try it and you have luck with it, let me know. I'd love to hear about these sorts of things. And if there's anyone else you want who you think should be watching this, share it with them. And yeah, I look forward to coming back to you tomorrow night to talk about confidence and how we can use that to move ourselves towards a better version of us. Cool. Thanks very much, guys. Have a lovely evening.